Hey everyone, how's it going? Russell Matthews here. Now this is just a quick video to let you know that Monday, March 15th is the next application date for the CRB, and this is the 12th application period. Now whenever a new application comes out, I like to update you about everything that's changed over the past 2 weeks, any new information that you may want to look into before your application. First, we're going to talk about some of the most pressing matters. I'm going to show you some comments if you were worried about the CRB extension that should make you feel a little bit more comfortable. And we'll also talk about a reason that you might be locked out of your account as of this application and what you can do to solve that. And then afterwards, like I like to do anytime we have one of these new application periods open up, I like to go over all of the videos that I've made over the past 2 weeks to give you short little summaries of them so you can figure out which videos are most important for you to watch so that you can be up to date. I know that not everyone has the 12 minutes every day to watch every video I put out. So if you're going to watch any video all the way to the end, this is the one to do it because you're going to get a better idea of which videos you should go back and take a look at. And before we do, make sure to check out the links in the description where you can open up your own investment accounts and start taking your wealth into your own hands. And if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button and notification bell to keep on supporting Canadian content right here on the YouTube platform. All right, let's take a look at this. Now you may remember last time that we talked about this disclaimer. This is basically saying, hey, that we're expecting a CRB extension to come in the near future. And the reason this confused us a little bit was the fact that they had previously said that this was going to happen no matter what, and now they're using this sort of tentative language. Well, I have some information on that. I'm going to show you a quick clip here that should make you feel a little bit more comfortable that these changes are actually going to happen when they're supposed to.
To be clear, Canadians receiving recovery benefits will not see any disruptions in their benefits. But I can't make the same guarantee with respect to Canadians on EI who face the same pending end to their benefits.
So of course this was in the context of the EI debate that's currently ongoing. Now that EI extension has been pushed forward quite a lot, and we're only waiting on news from the Senate and whether or not they're going to pass it until we know that the EI extension is actually 100% happening. But Carla Qualtrough here, this is the Minister for Employment, she says that there will be no interruption for CRB benefits, so that should put you a little bit at least at ease. Now the second most pressing concern is the fact that 800,000 Canadians have been locked out of their CRA accounts. Now, this is due to some security issues from the CRA, saying that they've found out that some people's username password combinations that they use on the CRA have also been found and hacked on another site, so they're taking measures to make sure that your account doesn't get hacked. Now, I recently made a video on this just yesterday about how you can actually get your account unlocked. We're going to talk about it later here in the video, but again, there's a link in the description if you're somebody who's found out that your account is suffering due to this security measure. Now, those are the most pressing things when it comes to the actual application for this week, but I'm going to go over all of the other videos that I've made over the past 2 weeks to let you know what's been going on and which videos it might be worth it for you to watch so that you can have an understanding of what's been happening in this country over the past 2 weeks. First off, we talked about a question that's on a lot of people's minds. Even though there's this extension being applied, what's going to happen after these benefits run out? Well, we took a closer look at 2 different interviews of 2 of the main leaders of opposition parties, Aaron O'Toole of the Conservatives and Jagmeet Singh of the NDP, and we sort of went through what they were saying and how likely it was for them to support a future extension, as well as what their plans would be if they were in power for how to transition us out of this pandemic period. It seems like a lot of the focus is on how they're going to create good jobs for Canadians moving forward. I know that's something that's on a lot of people's minds, so if you're interested in that, make sure to check out the link in the description where you can watch that full video. Now, the next thing we talked about wasn't entirely benefit related, so I'll only touch on this quickly, but I made a video about the best ways to buy cryptocurrency here in Canada. It's something I'm getting more and more interested in, and I'm putting a small part of my investment portfolio towards this cryptocurrency, so if that's something you'd be interested in learning how to do here in Canada for the lowest amount of fees in the safest way possible, check out that video. Then we talked about the way that benefit taxes are about to be due come this income tax filing deadline. Now, if you haven't watched the video, it's April 30th that's due, and if you're somebody who receive benefits, there are a couple different forms that you're going to want to gather and a couple different things you're going to want to take into consideration before you do this. You might remember that they said that, oh, you don't need to pay interest on your taxes this year, essentially meaning that you don't have to pay your taxes for another year, but you will get a penalty if you don't file your taxes in time. So this video is going to go over all of the little steps that you need to take in order to do this yourself in many cases so that you don't have to pay someone else to do it if you have a simple tax situation. Then, and this is related to that tax situation, we talked about some errors that some people have been having on those very documents that they're using to file their taxes. It seems that some people who received either the CERB or the CRB and have gotten the T4A tax form, in some cases the amounts listed on your form may be incorrect. So we made this video just to talk about what you can do to take a look at whether or not that actually happened to you, and what you can do if you found this to be the case for your individual form. In this video, we also talked about the upcoming budget that's about to come our way from the federal government. Now, it was supposed to happen in March. They've since pushed that back to April, but this is the budget where we're going to find out pretty much the future of Canada, at least from an economic standpoint. This means news about benefits, news about social programs, anything that has to do with the direction that Canada is going to be taking for the next 10 plus years. That will all be discussed in this budget. Now, we talk a little bit about some of the expectations we have for that budget, and remember, when that budget comes out, we're going to cover it right here on the channel, so subscribe so you can get a better idea of what's happening in Canada. Then we talked a little bit about investing and how here in Canada it's often a little bit taboo to talk about money, and I think that's doing us a huge disservice as a country, because as a result there's people that aren't educated about how to invest and how to get started. So in this video we go over an investment that I made in something called dividend paying stocks, and how this can actually be a strategy to get you closer to retirement. So if you're interested in learning more about that side of things, check out that video. Then we talked about new calls from an NDP member of parliament who says that the CERB should be forgiven for everyone, whether they were eligible to apply or not. Now, this is a little bit of a controversial issue. You'll remember that the CERB debt was forgiven for many people who were self-employed and were affected by that net gross income issue, but now they're calling for all of the CERB debt to be canceled because it more targets lower income people who don't have the money to pay this back in many cases. Now, this can be a very controversial topic because it could leave it so that many people who applied fraudulently and knew they were applying fraudulently would be able to keep up to $14,000 of the CERB. Now, many people will say, hey, I was honest, I recognized that I wasn't eligible and I didn't apply, so why am I being penalized for recognizing I wasn't eligible and doing the honest thing? That's why there's so much controversy around this, and we talk about it a whole lot more in that video. Then we talked more in depth about this fight that's been going on over the EI extension. You'll know from the beginning of this video that the CRB, that was able to be extended through regulation without passing any laws or changing anything. But for EI, they needed to pass this through the legislative process, which means it has to go to the House of Commons and then to the Senate. It's a big ordeal. Now, every single party has some small problems with the way they're actually bringing this EI extension forward, and we go through each of those problems that each party has with this EI extension in depth in this video. Then we dove deeper into the series of videos that I go over explaining different investments that you might want to make. We talk about ETFs. Now, these are exchange traded funds, and they let you invest in the stock market without exposing you too heavily to one company, instead buying a ton of different companies just by buying one stock. So if you want to learn more about how to do that, I think it's so important to learn about this stuff. That's why I'm trying to bring it to you. Make sure to click that video. Then we talked about two different benefit updates. The first one is the $1,200 boost to the CCB, the Canada Child Benefit, and where that's currently at in the legislative process in the House of Commons. And we also talked about a new proposal from the Bloc Québécois that would see the old age security be boosted by $110 a month. So if you want to learn more about those and where those are currently at and how likely those are to happen, check out that video. Then we talked about a debate on a controversial subject that seems to be getting more and more steam as we go forward in this country, and that is universal basic income. Now, before, politicians weren't even talking about this, but now in the context of the EI extension debate, a mini debate sort of popped up all around UBI and how many parties believe that this would be a better way to go forward. Now, again, I'm not telling you which way I think on this. I'm just trying to bring you this information. So if you're interested in that debate and that as a prospective way for us to go forward as a country, then make sure to check out that video so you can understand what politicians are saying. Then we talked about how the EI extension was actually passed through the House of Commons. There was finally a vote on this. Many parties felt like they had their backs against the wall and they were forced to vote yes for this. Otherwise, they'd take a pretty bad public outlook on their party saying, hey, the Conservatives held up this bill. So everybody was kind of forced to vote this through quickly. And now we're just waiting on the Senate to take a look at this and debate it. So if you want to know exactly where we are in this process and how likely this EI extension is to be passed, check out that video. And finally, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the CRA has just launched locked out 800,000 Canadians from their accounts at a rather inopportune time, with many people wanting to apply for benefits and needing their CRA account to have access to file their taxes. It seems like the timing isn't the CRA's best suit. So if you want to know exactly how you can get into your account if you're somebody who's been locked out, then this video is for you. And I know that's a whole bunch of information, but I want to thank you for watching all the way to the end. The way YouTube works is a little bit funny. They sort of really emphasize the importance of people watching all the way to the end. So if you're somebody who's made it this far, let me know in the comments that you made it all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. It helps YouTube recognize, hey, this is a video I should send out to more people. And if you haven't already, check out the links in the description where you can open up your very own investment accounts. Like I've said a couple times in this video, it's so important to think about these days. So if you haven't already done so, check out those links. And of course, if you haven't already done so, check out the subscribe button and the notification bell. Well, don't check it out, maybe click it if you haven't done so, and keep supporting Canadian content just like this. And with all of that said, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really hope this video has helped you out at least a little bit, and I'll see you next time. This channel is supported by viewers like you. Thanks, channel members.